This is Gail, and welcome to my channel tonight. I am going to be on just for a few minutes, going to answer some questions, but look for me to come on later. The reason I'm not going to do the whole live stream right now like I would normally do is because I have a guest that's going to be coming later tonight. She has not been on this channel in a while, and this gal owes us. I'm talking about none other than Stellar Piper. So she'll be here later tonight. So I thought I would come on, address a couple of quick questions, and talk to you all for just a minute. And then later tonight, I'll come back on with her, or maybe, yeah. Hey, we have got living positively after challenges. Hi, Lori. Hey. So I just wanted to come on for a minute. Several of you have seen the video about our county mayor talking about the stuff going on in this area. So what I did was I put in some footage, some photos and some videos that I have taken as we've been through the process. The hurricane came in on the 27th of December, caused havoc, as you all know. But a bunch of you all donated and supported our efforts at recovery. So I wanted you to hear from his own words what was going on. So what I did was I did a screen recording of him talking. Our Mayor Potter, was able to go in front of the Tennessee House to request funding for our county. Some other mayors did too, but of course, my mayor is the one I'm talking about. And I did not realize up until that point that our students here in Johnson County had missed a total of 62 days of school. So what happened was with the hurricane, we lost 5 weeks straight off the bat. Everything was in disarray. Roads were down, schools were down, there was damage everywhere. You know, kids were having to help with their parents at home in their houses and couldn't get to school. The roads were washed out, buses couldn't get on, trees down, power lines down, no electricity, no water. It was weeks before part of our county got electricity back. So all of that transpired, and the kids were out for 5 weeks because of that. But then we have this thing called snow, ice, and extremely cold temperatures. So as if the hurricane wasn't enough, we started dealing with this other stuff because of weather-related phenomenon. And it's the whole thing has just taken its impact on the county. So with the hurricane and then with the snow, the kids have lost a tremendous amount of school. So I don't know how much of that they're going to have to make up. I do know that the original 5 weeks that they lost, they've gotten a waiver for that. But you know, kids learning is really impacted by all this, and their ability to retain what they've learned, that's shot because they've been out of school so much. So I don't know really what the long-term consequences are of all this. But anyway, what I wanted to talk to you all about, several of you have asked, how do you help? What do we need? And things like that. So I wanted to say first, thank you for even thinking about us, for offering, and for all the support that you've already been. So I know some of you all said, I can't support you financially, but I created a playlist and I'm just streaming your videos. You know, that was a help. Some people were like, okay, I don't have any money, but I want to come to your live stream. You know, that helps because I put all of that and put that into the hurricane relief here on a local level. As we had your donations, which I appreciate so much. We've done over $18,000 worth of hurricane recovery right here because of you all. So pat yourselves on the back. Pat. So y'all you've been amazing. No, don't feel helpless. You've done great. And we've got Big Tom's Van is here too. Hi, Big Tom's Van. Huge thank you to you too. So the kind of things that we still need are not so much things because people keep sending things and we don't need them. Like earlier this week, we had somebody contacted us and they wanted to bring a pickup truck full of water. They said it would be a pallet. So we appreciate the pickup truck of the pallet of water, but that's really not what we needed. And he was really nice. He totally understood. And I'm like, we need electric blankets, we need laundry detergent, gas tanks, propane tanks, gift cards, things like that. And he was like, oh, okay. He said, he would just go ahead and he's going to send some laundry detergent. Yay. After the first of the month, which we're excited about because those laundry detergent sheets are a big deal. Well, really, everything's a big deal right now. So I wanted to address that. And then I think I've talked about it before, but the other thing that we really need is people. So I need people to come, and we're trying to put together a mission team. I definitely mentioned that before about coming and painting people's houses, interior, like walls inside their house. Just want to be specific on that. So to come and paint, that's huge. Now that's kind of a low level skill, but we also need like skilled electricians. We still need people to do underpinning on an RV, things like that. People who can recreate a driveway. We've got folks that have taken downed trees and put them over the creek in front of their house. And so they've been driving on these tree logs, which it gets the job done. I have to say, I saw some of that done in Alaska. So that's that can-do ingenuity. But they really need a more permanent driveway. And of course, with all of this, what do we have right now? More rain. And so because of that, we're having some areas flood that traditionally don't flood. Now, the flooding is a lot less than what it was with Hurricane Helene. But you've got like water over the driveways or water over the road where we didn't used to have that. And that's because when the rains from Hurricane Helene came in, the creeks, and you all saw some of this in the video, there is a lot of water in one of the scenes of my video. And that's from what used to be a little creek that completely overflowed. Well, when that happened, it expanded the existing creek. So like one person that I talked with said that the creek in front of his house went from about 20 feet to about 50, closer to 50. Now he was eyeballing that. I don't think he had gotten out and measured that yet. So, but when that happens and the creeks change like that, then the water flow changes. And so the entire creek can kind of shift. And so that's what's creating some of the issues that we have now with flooding where it hasn't been. So to have someone that can come in and recreate the driveway, or in some places, if we can get permission to put the creek back where it goes, that's a godsend. So we need people that can do that, and really all kinds of specialists. If you know how to do a roof, if you know as far as repair, not just tarping. Okay, we've got tarps for the most part. So if you know how to do that with roof repair and so forth, those plumbers. Oh my gosh, plumbers. Those are the kinds of things we need, but not necessarily pallets of water. Because we actually have an overabundance, we still have some pallets of water. So that's why, please no water. Blankets, we're okay on because we've had people bring like half tractor trailer loads filled with blankets. So blankets, clothes, things like that, we're okay on. Now, as far as household supplies, we are in the process of switching over space in a warehouse so we can accept furniture, and household supplies. But the thing we're going to get into with household supplies, we have to be really careful. And that is, if you donate something for a household supply to go to a hurricane survivor, make sure it works. Because people think, oh, I've got this mixer or this blender and it's been up here on the shelf and I've never used it, forgetting that there is a reason why they never used it. And so it's quite often the reason is that it's broken. So if anybody that's listening to this who wants to donate, if you donate household supplies like that, please, please, please make sure it works. Okay. And if you buy something new and you want to donate it new, that's great too. You don't have to go upper end. Somebody may be used to using a KitchenAid stand mixer, but if what's donated is a $5 hand mixer, that's fine, because it all helps. But, furniture is going to be a need. And again, it doesn't have to be high-end furniture. And of course, that doesn't have to be new by any means. It just has to be in good, usable condition. I would personally, or just me, I would shy away from donating something that had like a heavy cigarette smell or maybe a heavy musty smell, because some people would be receiving it potentially who would have like asthma, COPD, or some kind of other breathing or lung condition, and you don't necessarily want to contribute to that. You want to help them up. You don't want to knock them down. So I would watch that. But some of the bigger things, we're going to need like end tables, things like that. We're okay on dog food. Somebody asked me about that. And I'm looking, let me pull this up. I had a couple of other questions that somebody asked if we needed. Oh yeah, diapers. Diapers right now, I think we're okay on, and that's because we had like half a tractor trailer load of diapers that came in, and the county is still using it. So we're okay on that. And of course, we need jobs. So if you have a multinational corporation that's looking for another place to open up a secondary headquarters, come on down, because we could use some jobs. And let's see. Yeah. Household, diapers. Okay, children's toys. Toys, I think we're okay on, and that's because we had toy drives for Christmas. So, and there were some really huge toy drives that happened. So I think we're okay. I know the toy drive that we did in trade, the families that came to trade, they were like so appreciative. And they were like, look, we can't get to the other end of the county, so we're glad you're doing this. So, that was huge. And you all helped with that. 183 kids. Hats off to you all, for doing that. So I think too that we're okay on toys. But some of our needs are, construction supplies. I have that down too. I forgot. All kinds of construction supplies. All kinds. We can use it. And I already said electricians and specialists. Also, when we start helping people paint the insides of their houses, we need some paint and some supplies. So Lowe's gift cards are helpful. Walmart gift cards are helpful. As far as right here in the community, we have a hardware store. I think it's an Ace Hardware. And we have Food Lion would be like the nationally recognized name for groceries. So gift cards to those places would be good. Also electric blankets. That's good. And we're still having some situations where trees continue to fall, and they tell me that this is going to be a couple of years while the trees are still falling, and it's like driving me crazy, but that's the way it is. So now we need even more people to come and help clean up yards and things like that as soon as the weather gets to where it's stable. Do I still have an Amazon wish list? Yes, I need to adjust that though. I was looking at that last night, and I've made some adjustments, and I'll continue to do that. But laundry detergent, I'll go ahead and tell you, is a big thing. It's an ongoing thing. You know, I think the laundry sheets are really easy to break down and hand out because you don't have to worry about them leaking, popping, spilling, anything like that. The laundry sheets are also great in the van. So, you know, that's a thing. People who are in campers are now using the laundry mats where they didn't used to, or washing things out in the sink. So laundry sheets can accommodate all of that. All of that. So that's a big thing. Hey, we've got Grandma Lynn in. Hi, Grandma Lynn. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. So those are some of the things. I am sending I sent an email to a woman when I realized that I needed to do the Amazon wish list. I sent her an email and I'm like, hey, you know, she is on the long-term recovery and she's helping collect some of these. So I was like, what do you need the most? And one of the things that I heard from the long-term recovery people is laundry detergent. So we'll go from there, and I'll find out more from her as she gets back with me. Okay. But Big Tom, I do want to say too, huge shout out to you, because those phone chargers have been a really big deal. And I will tell you, the last phone charger actually went to a family, and it wasn't hurricane related, so I got to fess up. But they got burned out of their home. So there was apparently some sort of hurricane damage to the electrical system that came out when it was really cold, and they were having to run a large heater. And they were so thankful. There's an 11-month-old baby in the household, and they were so grateful to get that phone charger, because no matter where they are or what they're doing, they can have communications because of Big Tom's fan. So, yay! So even though it wasn't directly hurricane related, I hope you don't mind. And then we had a camper that has found a home and is getting set up with a family. So that's an exciting development. I actually have a video of that I'm hoping to get done this week. And I'm really excited for them. Nice family. The camper that was donated, everything seems to work in it. It's a really big deal when that happens, because I think I've mentioned before, and I'll just say it again for anybody who catches this live stream later, some of these campers, okay, everybody's been generous when they donate something, but some of the campers are in better condition than others. So we've had some that have needed a substantial bit of work in some cases. And so that's another skill set that we're looking for. Hi, Maureen. Welcome. Welcome, Maureen. It's good to see you. That's another skill set that's right there. And what we're finding out too, anybody who's ever camped, you know that there's a lot of difference between a camper and a home, even between a camper and a tiny home. So the skills that you need for a camper are similar to what you need for a home, but the materials that you're using are different. Like, okay, your walls in a camper are not going to be sheetrock. They're usually going to be some type of vinyl, whether it's a thick vinyl or a thin vinyl. It all depends on the brand. So when you have water that has leaked into the camper and it's caused damage to the vinyl, then you have to think, of course, well, what's behind that? But before you go ripping the vinyl off, you've got to make sure that you have the knowledge of what kind of vinyl do you need to put back up, where do you get it, and how do you do it? Because you don't just take a staple gun and go ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. It's not how you do it. So that takes a special skill set. Also, the windows in the campers are kind of a cross between a house window and a car window. And you got to have some different knowledge there. You really got to combine your knowledge between that car window and the house window to be able to replace the window in the camper. And you can order this window, and you think you've got the right size, and you get it, and you find out that it's just got a little, maybe an eighth of an inch difference, and you think, it's not that big of a deal to have an eighth of an inch difference. But on a camper, that eighth of an inch difference, you can't necessarily caulk around it to put enough caulking for it to hold forever. Okay. And that can make the difference between whether or not that camper wall stays good or deteriorates over time for moisture. Hold on. What are you doing? Are you getting your bed fixed? Okay. You can get it fixed. You go and do. He has not wanted me out of his sight much. Yeah. So I've got a pallet fixed back here for him. So he's going to fix it all up. And for y'all, in case you don't know, this is my service dog, Pipsy, over here. Yeah, he is. What? Okay. I think he's mad at me. He's going through the door. So, yeah. Yeah, he's mad. Oh, well. Anyhow, we also got some news about my back this week. Oh, what are you? Now you're back here. Okay. We got some news about my back this week, and I got sent to a neurosurgeon in addition to ortho, and I thought it was one or the other. I know I'm scratching you, but instead, neuro called, and I'm like, I don't need to see you. I saw ortho, and they're like, well, just a minute. And they looked at the order, and they said, no, actually, they've ordered for you to be seen by both. So where I thought I was okay in not having to worry about surgery, I may not be so lucky. So we'll see. And that affects some of the things going on this spring to help here with the recovery. If I have to have surgery, I'm going to be more limited in what I can help. So fortunately, my husband is on the long range planning committee. So yeah, he gets to do most of it anyway. I just have to help, but y'all know how that goes sometimes. Yeah, I know. You're right here, aren't you? So the tail that you see wagging some, that, speaking of which, that goes to Pipsy here. But yeah, and Big Tom's van says, yeah, campers are different. And yeah, they are. They are. But, we're still grateful. Don't get me wrong. Okay. Don't hear me say we're not grateful, because we are. It's just that some of the campers needed some TLC, ranging from new floors to electrical. So, are you leaving me now? Okay. I think are you going to go take care of Dad? He doesn't know what he's doing. And Valerie says she's going back to Colombia on a mission trip in April. Yay. You did a phenomenal bunch of work. And I hope you do more vlogging about it. Because if y'all haven't seen her stuff about when she was in Colombia, go check out her channel, because she's got some stuff up. She's a busy lady. Busy. So those are some of the things that we need. And we've got, of course, some chronic things that we always need, because here's the deal. We were already a very poor county. And so when Hurricane Helene came in, it's caused some problems. And there are problems that you never think of until you're in a situation like this. And it just adds to the angst, shall we say. We all did this whole FEMA thing where everybody got denied right up front. And that was a real challenge, because people were having to find connectivity to even apply to FEMA. See, but you kind of expect that. But like we have problems and they're going to be ongoing. And there are things like if your property, for example, if your property line is the middle of the creek, and that's how the deed to the land was written back when the land grant was written, buku years ago, and your property line is in the middle of the creek, well, what happens to your property line when the creek moves 15 feet over? Do you still own that or not? And then, like with this one poor guy's front yard, part of it is washed away because of Hurricane Helene. So where is your property line? Where is it now? How much property do you own? And at what point do your property assessors have to come back out and reassess your property for tax purposes? How much does that change your homeowner's insurance or your renter's insurance? So all of these things come into play that you don't think about at the same time that you're trying to get your roof fixed or your culvert fixed or your driveway put in. Those are things that you don't think about. Or having a heat pump that's damaged and you think it's okay, and then a couple of months later it gets super cold and you have to turn it on more to run it and run it harder, and then it shorts out on you. So things like that. What are the long-term needs to your own personal house or your own personal life, and how do you how do you work on that? So it's things like that people don't think about. It's a lot of the property lines and so forth. The other thing is our creek beds changed a little bit, and they're a little deeper, but now there's rocks in the middle of them. So you've got to figure out, okay, do I dig this out or do I leave it? And who do you need to get permission from to dig out the creek? So that's gotten to be an issue, because just because it's your creek and just because it's in your front yard doesn't mean you own the creek. So all of these things, come into play to add to the angst. So it's really interesting how there's so many layers. Or at least when I saw in the past pictures of flooding, I just assumed that, once that part of the house was fixed, everything was fine and you could resume your life what you could. I think we've all got PTSD from this, and I think everybody that goes through a natural disaster like Helene probably develops PTSD. But like when you're going through this from the outside perspective looking in, and you see flooding and you see a house, then I had the idea, and I think a lot of other people do too, that when you rebuild the house, then the family goes back in it, and from that point they're okay. Well, I didn't know that property lines can shift and things like that. So that didn't occur to me. And in some places, if the creek fed a pond and the pond was stocked and your creek is no longer feeding into the pond, then what do you do? I mean, it's just like all these things. Are people still intense? I do not think so for right here. There is two situations actually that I know of where they are intense, but neither one of them wants to leave their tent. One guy is homeless. He has lived in the tent for over a decade and he is not leaving it. So and then there's one other gentleman who's in a similar situation. Otherwise, as far as we know for right now, everybody's out of the tent. But we do have some families that are double and tripled up. We did have a woman that was living out of her car that I personally spoke with, and she is now in a better situation. So, but as far as tents, I think other than those two, I think we're okay. And that's going by a list that we were given. Now, if people didn't self-report, there's no way that we would know other than like the person I talked to. Ciao, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. You want to pop in and say hi?
Let me
sit. Well, Stellar Piper is here, so that's good. But so as far as I know, we're okay. We have one trailer that the family's fixing to move into, and then we have one family that's waiting on the trailer to come in. It's been donated, or at least we have a pledge that it's donated. It's on its way. So hopefully that'll be in good shape. But yeah, but as far as tents, I think we're okay. Now, that was actually a question that I emailed to the person I mentioned earlier, and she may get back with me differently. But as far as right now, that's what I know. Excuse you, sit. You may pet him when he is calm. So since Stellar Piper came in, somebody is just overexcited here. Sit, good sit. So yeah. Does anybody else have any other questions about this? There's Stellar Piper.
Hi.
Hi. She just came in from Kentucky. So yeah. So that's where we are, and I really hope that. And Big Tom Span says hi. Thank you, Big Tom's. So I hope that answers some of your questions, and I hope that you all do go back and look at the video. The title of it is Life After Hurricane Helene in Tennessee. Johnson County Mayor describes the aftermath. And there is one portion of the video where he actually has to pause and kind of compose himself, because that's the level of where we are here. And I think I'm going to kind of call BS a little bit on him, but in a nice way. He says in the video, in the interview, he says that he has had 9 days off since the hurricane came in. I would really have to question that, because I doubt that he's had 9 days off. I feel like probably somebody has gone up to Mayor Potter and talked to him about hurricane stuff. He's on his phone a lot now, and yes, I do kind of know him, but I doubt that he's had 9 days off. And part of what I'm basing that on is my husband. Like, he will tell you that he had time off, and we did go out of town in November, and like that whole time we were out of town, we were still on the phone with people, on Facebook with people, messaging, texting, you name it. So when you see the video, kind of take that idea that he's had any days off with a grain of salt. Okay. Also, he got upset about our employer leaving. Okay. In 2020, I looked up some stats. Okay. And in 2023, our poverty rate was the 12th highest in the U.S. Not my county, but the state poverty rate was the 12th highest. And the year before that, there are 95 counties in the state of Tennessee. And in 2022, the county that we're in here in Johnson County, Tennessee, we hit 93 out of 95 counties as far as our income level. So we were still almost at the bottom of the pack before Hurricane Helene came in. So as a result of Hurricane Helene, we have Parkdale Mills that closed. They got very badly flooded. They said that the building was just not able to be fixed at a reasonable price. And of course, the land, there's some issues there and whatnot. So they opted to leave. They closed. And with that, we've lost 400 and something jobs. And that number of jobs in a county that has more things going on than this county, if it was Knoxville, Nashville, Chattanooga, Memphis, those areas can better absorb the loss of the jobs more so than we can. And so when we've had those jobs disappear, we've also had along with that a lot of mom and pop companies. They've had to close, and we've had a couple of brand name companies having to close for various reasons. Some people who lost their jobs as a result of the hurricane couldn't support these places, and it's like, one of the other things about the hurricane area that you don't think about is, okay, we've lost Parkdale, the major employer. But what if your food truck business is tied up with going there or even being across the street from Parkdale and selling food to the Parkdale employees when they're on break, and suddenly they can't buy from you anymore? What about the two teenagers that you hire to help you run the food truck that you may not be able to keep anymore because you don't have those employees? And so it's things like that. And it's things like, okay, you were working there at the factory, and that's where your insurance was tied up because that's the job that you had or your husband had, and then you don't have health insurance. So it's this whole, Big Tom's van is saying it's a domino effect. Yeah, it is. It's a big domino effect. But that's something that people don't think about when you see that there's a disaster area. And I would like to ask people who might hear this later, if you choose to come here or to another disaster area and work, try to buy something locally. I don't care if it's a box of Kleenex or a roll of paper towels. I know you're going to be bringing a lot of things with you, and I get that. But try to buy something locally from a mom and pop, or maybe the group could go out to one of our local restaurants one day. Valerie got to come down at Christmas and help me with cookies, and I think we took you to every local restaurant in town. We don't have that many of them, but we do have, like, our other major employers next to Parkdale are Kentucky Fried Chicken, Taco Bell, McDonald's, Hardee's, and Burger King. And those are not open like hours that you would expect fast food to be open, just because it's already an economically depressed area. And they don't hire the number of people that they would in a larger area. So that those are now, like, Taco Bell and KFC in the city is like our major employers. And I was told that between the two of them, they hire fewer than 50 people. So supporting locally is really big. Yeah, Valerie says the food and service was good. Yay! That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. So yeah, so those are some of the things going on. And let me just see if I can go ahead and type this in and get the URL for you. Because if you haven't seen it, I really would like for you to see it, just because it tells the story, I think, better, even with the mayor breaking down there and having to kind of compose himself. And he gets saying, what do you tell people? Because everybody wants answers. When am I going to get back to work? When can I open up my business again? Things like that. And there's not any answers. Okay, there's the link there that I just posted. So if you all have time, it's only like a 3.5 minute video, something like that. So if you all have time to go listen to his report, it will tell you, a lot about how we are now, even now. The pictures are not from today. The pictures I've taken from the start of the disaster through now, and we kind of just rolled with him. So, all right. Well, I'm going to go help Stellar Piper get her stuff unpacked and set up in her room. And then later this evening, I hope to be back. And yeah, we'll go from there. I've got a tag video lined up with some Bodacious tags that it's just going to be a fun, lighthearted video. I'm sorry, live stream after some of the, tougher ones. So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you all. You saw the video. It was very emotional. Yeah. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. But it gives you a much better viewpoint than I can. I shouldn't say better. Let me just say authoritative, because he's the guru. He's the guy that you go to. So anyway, thank you all so much for everything that you have done and for hanging out tonight. All right. I will see you on the next one. Go out, be bodacious. Don't let life get in the way of living, and take care. And I'll see you on the next one. Okay. Bye, you all.